Holistic connection. Let's heal. Holistic connection. Let's learn. Holistic connection. Let's grow. Holistic connection. Let's be real.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners. I am PamelaTopjian, your host. The holistic practitioner that we are meeting with today is Danielle. And I want to welcome you, Danielle, and ask you to please introduce yourself and share what you do in the holistic healing space.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I've gotten to connect with a lot of different people doing a lot of podcasts recently, and it's
Yeah, it's
just
so
always
fun.
cool to to connect with other humans. So I'm Danielle Kepics. I've been a board certified physician assistant, and if you're like that's not holistic, just hold on to your butts as what's his name said in Jurassic Park. I can't think of his name right now. Yeah, so I've been a board certified physician assistant for 12 years. Prior to that, I was a mental health therapist, and prior to that, I was a personal trainer. I'm also a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. I have a lot of extensive training in functional medicine and hormones and more holistic, functional, integrative space.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned from some really great people, taken some really great courses. Dr. Carrie Jones, Jill Krista, Allison C. Becker. So I've learned from some really amazing humans. They're, in my opinion, the best in their fields at what they do or at the top of it. And so I help women. I have two separate businesses, as we were talking about. So I have one side of my business where I do functional nutrition, I do my functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a separate business where I provide hormone replacement therapy for women who qualify for it, who
Mm-hmm.
it's safe and effective and necessary and helps them improve their quality of life. And I focus on perimenopause and metabolic health optimization. And then, so that's my empowered medicine business. And then my other business is empowered mind and body. So they're very similar names. And the average woman that I help there has seen an average of 2 to 3 prior physicians or practitioners, and they've been suffering for years, if not decades, with issues from fatigue, gut health, hormone stuff, the whole gamut, and just haven't been getting answers. So I help them get answers and feel better in 6 months. So
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
really great.
So
Yeah.
needed.
It's
So needed
it's
out
such a
there.
mouthful. I don't know how much people
Whew.
typically say to you, but yeah, that's a mouthful.
So you mentioned your two separate businesses and websites. So I usually wait until the end, but let's go ahead and mention your
Yeah.
website since you have both of them. So you have empoweredmindbody.co, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And then the other one is empoweredmedicine.co,
Yes, they're
correct?
both .co. That is correct. You
Okay.
got it.
And we will have those links below, of course.
Great.
I noticed on one of your websites you said just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. And I love that. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah, I think that there's just a lot of things that in conventional medicine, it's very normalized and women are told, "Oh, that's just you, that's just normal for you," or that's just normal painful periods, diarrhea, constipation, things that really impact people's daily quality of life, right? And you know, why do we have a standard of what is actually normal for people, like
Yeah.
having 1 to 3 bowel movements a day, but then medical physicians or other practitioners go and tell people in general or mostly women oh, that's once a week is just your normal. And
Yeah.
it's really a shame that that has been accepted. I was talking to someone who I know in my personal life and helping her with some things for her separate loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, yeah, but she has really painful periods if she's not on birth control. I'm like, okay, but why does she have painful periods? Why were you sold that birth control was the answer to painful periods and not asked well, gee, I wonder why so and so is having painful periods. Could there be endometriosis? Could there be gut issues? Could there be adenomyosis? Could there be all of the above? We don't know, and we're just masking that problem, right? And so I just think there are so many things that our society, and especially women, I know it happens to men too. I'm very well aware of that. I work with women almost predominantly. The only men that I see are the women who are like, okay, you fixed my problems. Can you fix my boyfriend sitting on the toilet having diarrhea that looks
Right.
like he's at a bad gas station? Can we fix this,
Yeah.
So those are the men that I work with. But yeah, it's just, to me, it's really just a shame because these things have been normalized by people in authority positions, physicians, PAs, nurse practitioners, I don't care who you want to classify here.
Mm-hmm.
women then internalize it as normal and they're like, oh, hush, hush, like I shouldn't say anything. I shouldn't seek more help. This is just normal. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's not. I had a poor girl who was having diarrhea so bad that she didn't want to go to the gym and have a gym membership because she was literally afraid of having an accident. Like that's not normal.
That's not normal. Yeah. You should be
And
able
she
to live your
suffered with
life.
that for years before she saw me. And like on our last appointment, I think at the 5-month mark, she was like, I'm going to go get a gym membership. And I was like, that's so great.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably like, finally, this is
Yeah.
like the reward of
Yeah.
all that hard work. Yeah. Yeah. And being patient and diligent all this time and still remaining hopeful. I mean, that
Yeah.
says a lot about the women who have been
Totally.
through so many different things and seen so many different types of practitioners and medical doctors and all of that, and still are seeking help and haven't given up. That says a lot that they have that hope within them still.
Yes.
Women are so amazing.
No, I
That's,
agree.
yeah, that's really great. So you had mentioned that you were a physician's assistant, mental health therapist. So did you make a transition or are you
Yeah.
integrating them both together?
No,
And how did
no.
that
So
work?
that's actually unethical.
Okay.
If you're seeing a therapist and they play a different role in your life, that's something that we call a dual relationship, and
Okay.
that's a big ethical violation in the therapy realm. And unfortunately, we see that a lot in Southern Utah
Yeah.
because some people don't like to have ethics around here. Um, like the only place that you should be seeing your therapist is in your therapist's office. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
getting coffee with them. You shouldn't be seeing them for personal training. You shouldn't, yes, no. So I don't, of course I use the skills. Those
Right.
skills are
It's
very
something you've
useful for the
learned.
work that I do. Like you can
Mhm.
take the therapist off the couch, but you can't take it out of her. So I definitely use those skills. I did a lot of training when I worked in conventional medicine with PA students, and I would tell them
Mhm.
like the most important thing you can do is get your patient to trust you because if they don't feel like they can talk to you, you don't get the information. And if you don't know how to get information, I'm not talking about like coercion or anything like that, but asking the
Right.
right questions
Yeah.
and leading people in the right way and understanding what to ask and like how to treat a person so that they
Hmm.
understand that they can trust you. So yes, I use those skills, but I do not integrate. No, that's a big no.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Completely separate, but the
Yes.
knowledge is still there, the
Yes.
experience is still there
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
used. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I work with a lot of women. My average client or patient is a woman who's 30 to 50 years old, highly achieving type A, and 80% of them work in healthcare also.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
I see other professions, of course, and I see people outside of that range, but that's like the big bulk of the bell curve who I
Yeah.
see. And lots of overachieving, overexercising, complex trauma.
Mm.
And so I see a lot of women who are really putting too much into the emphasis of their body and body dysmorphia and exercise. And it's really coming from a place of trauma. And so I have a couple of therapists who are licensed in a lot of states who I
Hmm.
really like to partner with.
Hmm.
And we really have a nice Venn diagram of the type of human that we see and serve. And so
Yeah.
it's worked out really well. So no, here's so many stories of like therapists violating that
Yeah.
like trust with their clients. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. So that's my up. I'm sure I'll have another soapbox, but I'll get off of that one.
No, that's totally
Yeah.
fine. And yeah, no, that's totally fine. This is all about highlighting you and what you do and who you are. So that's great. Feel
Yeah.
free to get on that soapbox. Um, yeah, so how did you first become interested in making that transition over?
Yeah, so I was actually I was still working part-time as a personal trainer when I was doing
Okay.
therapy work too. I never fully went and got my license. I like once I found the PA career, I was like, I really think that this is more of the route for me.
Hmm.
And honestly, like I blend so much of it together with what I do that it's like
Yeah.
my personal training career and that knowledge has like served me so well in like the metabolic health arena and things like that. But a client actually, a personal training client brought me a page and she said, I think you might find this interesting. I like wasn't looking, or maybe at that point, I just don't feel like this is like the end for me. I don't
Hmm.
feel like this is a forever. And I was like, this is a great fit. I shadowed a bunch of different PAs and I was like, this is really great. This is what I want to do. And so I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, you sound like you're probably similar to the women that you see
Yes.
as your clients.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
oh, I like this. I'm going to do this. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I'm very
Always
type A.
learning.
I would like to say like I have a little type B in me. So like I'm a type 8.5, but I
Ah.
with my work and with work and school and goal driven things, I'm very, very type A.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you attract and work with who you are. Like it's very
Yeah.
much a mirror. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because as I got out of conventional medicine and into the more integrative space that I'm in now, I started really like with a lot of women who were trying to conceive and getting off birth
Mm.
control. And I was like 37, 38 at the time. And then it's, over the past 4 or 5 years, it's morphed into perimenopause and metabolic
Right.
because that's where I am and that's who's attracted to me and that's who
Yeah.
wants to learn from me. So I was just like right on that cusp, and so it was really interesting in the past just tracking like who I'm working with and what they're asking me for and their goals. It was just like right on the cusp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I hear a lot of people say that whatever traumas they have dealt with or things that they're going through in their life, then they're ending up getting those same clients coming to them. Like you said, it's like a mirror. You attract what you're needing or what you have been through yourself. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So do you work with people just strictly one-on-one, or do you ever do any kinds of groups or anything?
I do offer master classes here and there. I'm in the middle of
Okay.
a master class series right now, mindset, movement, metabolism. So I've not really seen anybody do this. I guess you could call it a group course, but I called it a master class series because
Uh-huh.
I'm not really offering like support in between sessions. You get 6, 7, it'll probably end up being 8 to 9 hours total of
Mm-hmm.
education time for me. I'm still running it face to face, but I'm going to run it evergreen, so it's still rolling
Yeah.
admission. So really, where I teach women how to just build strong, healthy, resilient bodies and metabolisms, and
Nice.
focus on how we can build the body up and what we can add to our lives instead of just like subtracting and making smaller.
Yeah.
With the Ozempidemic is
Right.
I have seen, it's really dangerous. I'm happy to go down that rabbit hole of the GLPs and peptides.
It's
Very happy.
scary.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of scary stuff out there, and I'm not saying that there's not a time and a place, but I don't
Right.
think that not every job requires the tool of a hammer, and
Right.
so.
Right.
Yeah, it's been really great. It's the first time I've done something like this, and I had
Mhm.
like I think upwards of 20 women who registered so far for it. It's
Nice.
it's been a small group, but it's been really great. So the women in
Nice.
there have really loved it. So, but yeah,
Nice.
generally speaking, it's just too hard. I
Mm-hmm.
know like a lot of dietitians do that work, but the work that I do with people, they reveal a lot of really personal things. And if people don't do that, when you don't know the whole story, like going back on what I was saying, like you
Mm-hmm.
just can't help people heal. And so I talked to a business coach who was like really pushing that angle for me. And I'm like, I
Mm.
understand that I can make more money and free up time. And also, that's not in my integrity because that is not going to best serve the woman who comes to me. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to ask for the price that I feel that I'm worth for that work. And that's just going to be it.
Yeah. So you're working with people mainly one-on-one, except for the master class. And
Yeah,
then are you working with people in person or online or
virtual,
both?
all
It's all
virtual.
virtual. Okay. Yeah, that's nice because then you, yeah, can work
Great.
with people all over.
Yeah.
So we mentioned your websites, but let's mention them again. And then also, where is the best place for people to reach you and to find you and all your information?
Yeah. So empoweredmindbody.co.
Hmm.
If you are anywhere, really, mostly primarily in the United States. When I start to get outside, it just starts to get hard with labs and everything else.
Yeah.
And then if you're in the state of Utah and you are a woman who's curious about perimenopause or perimenopause starts at the age of 35 for a lot of women. It's a 10 to 15 year neuroendocrine transition that a lot of women are not being served. And so if you're
Yeah.
just curious, I never shove anything down anybody's throats.
Hmm.
Um, but if you're curious about the status of your hormones and if hormone replacement therapy is right for you and you want someone who's going to do it the right way, and you live anywhere in the state of Utah, I can serve you through empoweredmedicine.co. And I do discovery calls, consult call for if you want to do that, or you can hop right into a hormone strategy session, which is a nice deep dive into kind of what you have going on, your hormone health, overall health. It's really, really valuable.
Um,
Instagram, I hang out on, I don't, other social platforms.
Not really into it,
No,
just
no,
mainly Instagram.
I'm a true elder millennial at Danielle.Kepics. It's
Okay. You also have a podcast. So let's talk about your
yeah.
podcast a little bit.
Yeah, so Strong and Unfiltered, it was a pandemic baby. So it's kind of evolved. I actually just worked with a podcast producer to kind of just
Ooh,
tweak some things out to optimize SEO and all the stuff.
yeah.
I have over 250 episodes.
Nice.
Most of the time it's me and an expert. I have started doing some solo episodes on like
Hmm.
rants or like Q&As that people will
Oh,
drop in my
nice.
Instagram boxes. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of really valuable information. I have anyone from double board certified ENTs, airway focused dentists. Carrie Jones, who I mentioned, has been on I think twice now.
Hmm.
Lots of women in the hormone space. Jolene Brighton, Nicole Jardim, like lots of really bright, amazing women,
Nice.
just freely sharing their knowledge. I don't pay people to come on my podcast, so
Hmm.
um, I've been really, really grateful. I was actually reflecting on this the other day. This is just like an emotional moment, but like just on the connections that I've made in the space and the women who
Yeah.
have kind of been like, come here, like, let me help you. And it just has
Yeah.
been like really sweet. And I feel really, really fortunate to have made the connections that I have. But yeah, lots of free information. If you're a woman in perimenopause, even if you're in your 20s and you're looking for information, there's probably 500 hours of free information. And then
Yeah.
my business manager, who is also one of my best friends, she comes on about once a month and we kind of just shoot the shit and talk about stuff, and it just is a real feel good time.
Yeah.
She's also like in that perimenopause range, and
Mm.
she was a nutrition coach in a former life, so we talk.
You have a lot to
You
talk
know,
about. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a fun good time. We host travel trips together and
Oh,
things.
fun.
So yeah, it's mostly I would say 85 to 90% very health and wellness focused, and but it's
Hmm.
always a good time and really amazing
Yeah.
really amazing humans.
Yeah. And that can be found on Spotify and all the
Any
podcast platforms. Wherever.
anywhere. Please go listen to my podcast.
Yeah. And we'll have that information below. I know that is in your website, right? One of your
Yeah,
websites.
it's on both.
Oh, it's on both. Okay.
Yep. We
Okay.
got it everywhere. I've used the same website, girl, for both. So.
Okay, okay, good. Is there any misconceptions or misunderstandings or anything that you do that people kind of get wrong or have a lot of
Mm.
questions around?
Oh, I'm a very divisive person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very strongly opinionated. So um people really don't like when I talk about that. I mean, I listen, how much time do you have? Because I could go on and on, but when I say that food food noise isn't food noise, it's hunger. Like people really
Mm,
don't like when I say that, because literally, if you are constantly thinking about food, like you're hungry. You literally need to eat. And this is
yeah,
going back to like the
regardless of your
GLP and
weight.
Ozempic. Yeah, I mean, and listen, I know there's always going to be the exceptions of like people with binge eating disorder, and trauma plays a massive role
Sure.
in how we eat and our dopamine and reward centers and things like that. I'm very, very well aware of that. However, people really don't like when I talk about like women don't need to eat more than 1,200 calories. I don't know
Hmm.
why people get really pissed off about that, but I'm like, listen, I just don't want people to be starving. We have an epidemic of skinny coming back, and it's really very dangerous.
Hmm.
After the age of 65, if you suffer a bone fracture, you have a 25% risk of death. And the same things that build muscle build bone. And these women who are just abusing the GLPs, and the practitioners are at as much fault
Yes,
because they're
yes.
right. And listen, I know people are getting it on the gray market and there's influencers selling it, and that's a whole other conversation. But there are
That is, yeah,
practitioners who are being irresponsible, and I
yeah,
hold them just as much accountable. It's like the opiate epidemic all over again.
yeah.
Whole other story. But the same thing, women need to understand that the same things that build bone build muscle. And so if you are literally not eating enough food to build muscle, your bone is degenerating. 25% risk of death over 65. Like, no, thank you.
Hmm.
I'll continue to eat and be strong and be in the gym. And I like
Yeah,
no interest in a thigh gap over here. So
yeah, yeah.
I think, if you feel like you have that constant food noise, please see a dietitian, like an actual dietitian, not somebody who did a weekend certification, the time and a place for those things, but please see someone who specializes in eating disorders. I'm not saying you have an eating disorder, but like they have very specialized training in ways to help you understand
Yeah.
relationship with food and your body and hunger signals. And it's just so important.
What are some ways that people can tell the difference between somebody who maybe took a weekend course
Yeah.
compared to
Ask them for
somebody
their credentials.
just ask for their
Ask them for their
credentials?
credentials.
Yeah.
Say what is your training? And so a registered dietitian is 6 years of school.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, and listen, as an FDNP, like that's like a 9 month to 2 year training.
Mm-hmm.
And not all people are created equal, right? Like I was literally
Yeah.
just talking about my current therapist, and I truly believe that she is at the upper 5% of therapists, because bell
Hmm.
curves exist in everything from therapists to
Yeah.
Navy SEALs, right? And so there could be someone who has a nutrition certification who is
Hmm.
amazing and incredible. And I think I do think that it is important, if you have an eating disorder history, that you're working with a dietitian, or you're having
Yeah.
like this food noise. That's typically beyond, in my opinion, the scope of a nutrition coach. But
Hmm.
asking if they're a registered dietitian, ask them for their license number. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Ask them what their training was like. Ask them if you can speak to a client who is like you, if you're thinking
Yeah.
about working with them. Those are all things that I think are really reasonable. In my opinion, in this day and age, if you're running a virtual business, you should be able to see someone's qualifications from their main social media platform within like 3 clicks. Like if you're on my page, I have a pinned post. You can see it in 1 click. You can get to my website in like one to 3 clicks. You can be at my
Hmm.
credential page. It's listed in multiple places, right?
Yeah.
And I just think in the age, and I think that there is a space for everyone, from coaches to trainers to, I think
Yeah.
there is such value. And I run a practitioner facing business too, where we have a lot of therapists who are, let me learn about airway health and this and that, so I can point my people who are struggling with anxiety to the right,
Hmm.
all these things. Like there is a space for all of that. However, I do think that we need to color within the lines of like what our scope is, and knowing what you don't know and what you're not appropriate
Yeah.
to handle is so important. And doing a consultation, like I think if someone doesn't offer a consultation, they just want you to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to work with them, and they're like, "No, I don't do that. Just buy my shit." Like
Hmm.
that's a red flag for me too.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
now you have to pay for my consult. It's $39.
Yeah.
I personally don't believe in working for free.
Hmm.
Even if it is like a small amount, if you're not willing to pay $39, you're definitely not
You're
gonna
not
work with me.
ready.
Yeah. You're
You're
not, and
not ready to
you're
be.
not gonna pay what I mean, like, I charge $4,000 to work with
Hmm.
me for 6 months, but there's testing and stool testing and blood work,
Yeah.
and you get direct access to me, not a front
Yeah.
desk, not a medical assistant, for that 6 month time frame in my functional nutrition business. And then in my HRT business, it's 24 to 48 hour response time,
Yeah.
and still direct access, right? Which, like, best of luck with that if you're trying to call a doctor's office.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just total tangent, but yeah.
No, that's fine. And then yeah, I think that the people who don't want to show you or answer those questions or
Oh, they don't
get
like it.
offended by you asking for credentials or you asking, yeah, for their training information, all of that, then that's a red flag right there too. If they don't want you to know or they get
Yeah.
angry or just start almost gaslighting you, like you don't, why don't you trust me or, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Red flags.
yeah,
Red
very
flags
much
for
so.
sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, very much so. So, what is something that people can maybe implement into their life to make some positive changes? Just like maybe
Love
one
that.
small simple thing to add or something that they can change just today.
I'm such a stickler on sleep. If you sleep
Mm.
with your phone in your room, get your phone or a screen out of your room. That's a
Okay.
really simple thing. I have had one person that I've worked with over the past 4 years who, he's on call. And so
Mm.
we've got to have a phone within hearing range,
Yeah.
but he puts it like 6 feet away.
Are. Mm-hmm.
So he can't just reach for it. There's a book called Dopamine Nation, but she talks about how if that's the first thing that we're reaching for, and that's a consistent thing that we're doing, we are our dopamine starts going like 2 hours before we wake up to like
Mm.
anticipating like what we're going to see on our phones. So I'm a huge, huge stickler for getting the phones out of the bedroom. Like every single person that I work with, people fight me too on it. And I'm like,
Oh
listen,
yeah, I'm
like,
sure.
they're like, I need it. And I'm like, what do you need it for?
Yeah, you can get a clock, because a lot of people will say, I need
The
to look
alarm
at the
clock.
time or the alarm, right? You can get yourself a little clock. I mean, get
Yeah.
yourself a
They
little
still,
clock. They
yeah,
still exist.
yeah. Amazon.com, homie. I don't know what to tell you.
Is there anything else that you want to make sure that you share or make sure people know before we end this today?
Trying to think of, just something really profound. I mean, this is kind of the kick that I've been on this week. Like 1,200 calories is enough for a toddler. Like you need as a grown, I don't know what if your audience is mainly women, but I just feel like women have just suffered so much being in this like I need to chronically be eating as little as possible. And,
This
that
has been
mindset
happening
is
since
just,
before you were born. This has been
yes,
happening since before I was born. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and it's just your body runs on nutrients. You make ATP, which is energy from nutrients. And if your cells don't work, that's how dysfunction happens. Like I've been saying
Yeah.
this for a long time. Your cells are like mitochondria is a powerhouse of the cell. Like I know, like I get it, but your cells make your tissues make your organs make up your body. And if you don't have the energy for them to function, like it's going to cause you problems. So if you are struggling with an eating disorder or disordered type eating, please get help or start eating more food.
Yeah. Yeah. Good food.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. This has been so much
Yeah.
information, and I just hope that people will check out your websites for more information and check out the podcast for more information.
Yeah.
And
Thanks
we
so
will have those
much.
links below. Yeah. So, everyone, let's learn and heal and grow together and share out this episode. Share Danielle with everybody that you know. Every woman that you know needs to hear this. So, thank you once
Thank you
again.
so much. This is great.
You're so welcome.